Now, Casey did a slight sojourn, they might say, in LA.
Okay.
Gave it a try.
Give
Had
it a shot.
I mean, I'm talking, you want to talk about the digs where this guy lived? Nice. Nice.
Cool.
But you just couldn't do LA, huh?
No.
You were there for 1 year.
Like 2 years, 10 months, 2 years, 8 months, something like that. We moved 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah, just never found it.
Yeah.
And we never found it. And I get it. Like, I definitely see the attraction. I understand why people who love it there. My big sister lived there in Hermosa for like 15 years, something like that. And she moved away just a couple years ago. And she's, she misses it. And she's like, I think about moving back there all the time. I get the attraction. I think I really like, in its most kind assessment, underestimated how much I love and need New York City. Like, I have a codependent relationship with New York City. I'm never leaving New York City. I'm going to die in New York City. I will never live anywhere. Like, this is it. I don't want anything else. There's nothing better. My wife and I eloped 3 weeks after we met each other and, got married and fell in love. And then we had to get it annulled. We realized we didn't like each other or something. We broke up. And then we spent like a couple years completely apart, dating other people, all that.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. And in those 2 years, when we got back together several years later, we were like, we took that time apart because we thought that maybe there was something that we wanted that was more than what we could offer to one another. And we were dead wrong. Like, no, the grass is not greener. This is what we wanted. And I think New York City is a parallel to that. It was a good thing that we took the time to move out there. Otherwise, you're like fantasizing about something that's not real. And we did it, and it wasn't real. Just like I was a couple of years apart.
Was it the people? Like what was?
I mean, you really want to get me started? Because
Yeah,
if I get going, I won't stop.
Yeah,
I'm being generous. Like, I fucking hated LA. But when I say I understand why people like it, I'm not saying that to be disingenuous.
So why do you think people like it? Let's start there.
Well, okay, so like I look at my kid brother, who's a total superstar, retired U.S. Air Force jet pilot.
Wow.
Who's now like, when he's like, I'm thinking about leaving the military so I can be a stuntman. And I'm like, Dean, you don't get to do that. Like, you made it as a jet pilot. You don't get to then double down and be like, I get to be a stuntman. He's like fucking Thor's stuntman in the Marvel movies. Like, he's as big as they come.
Wow.
He's a superstar. And he's LA local and New York local. What that means, folks, is that he can get jobs in New York as a local, so they don't have to pay extra to like put him up. That's what that means, right?
Right, fly him.
Yeah. So when you do that, you're more attractive to LA productions and New York productions. But he's out in LA 80% of his time because he likes his friends out there. He likes his tennis year round. The quality of life, he says, is better. He has like tighter friend groups out there. He finds it to be more social. He likes his surfing. He likes his cycling. My big brother Van, loves living in Topanga. He loves like the remoteness of it, the people that he meets, the weather, like all of that. My big sister loved the beach, like her friend group going out, like the sort of that vibe and that thing. They love that. And I get it. Like, I completely get it. I have people like, I could never leave LA, and I totally get and understand. I just have like next to no value on any of those things. It's the same thing as when people say, I could never live in New York City. I would never push back.
Right.
It is fucking disgusting in New York City.
Chaos. But the best kind of chaos.
Chaos all the time. It's filthy.
Yeah.
It's physically filthy.
But I think it trains you to see through filth and find just what is fucking amazing about life. Like, I took the subway here and it was fucking disgusting. But I don't know. I got here and it's great. Like, sure, it was like grimy and gross. And I actually saw a person.
Subways are like cleaner now than they've ever. No.
They're disgusting. And there was actually probably a mid-70s man with a walker that I watched walk up to the in between the trains, switch carts with his walker.
Hell yeah.
Isn't that epic? Isn't that epic? So I don't know. I love the grime.
Me too. You can shit on the subways, but like Andrew Schultz wanted to make a promo video for he's headlining Madison Square Garden.
Sold out in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'd say because of your video, which was sick.
That.
Really
he's
well
like,
done.
He's like, what can we make? And I was like, I've got this video I've always wanted to make. I was like, we got to make it in the subway. And he was like, okay. And we like dropped everything and went and did this whole production that day in a New York City subway where like we were taking over train after train after. There's one shot where the doors open and he comes walking out, which means I had to be on the outside of the train car.
Wow.
You know how hard that is to time? We had to like.
And which car?
Well, that's what we were doing. Like I would get in that, run, go one stop, and then I'd see him pulling up and I'd like run and wait outside. Then the door would open, get it, and I'd be like, that didn't work. And I'd run and jump back in the car and be like, wait, you get the next train. Same spot. And we just did that up and down the island like all day. And we're interrupting people. We're screaming. We have boom boxes to try to match audio. We're in everyone's way during rush hour. No one gives a shit.
No.
Like the cops showed up once so they could get a selfie with Andrew. Like no one cares. Moreover than no one cares. No one said, what are you guys doing? It's just New York. You're like, of course that's what you do. You're shooting some sort of music video in the subway. Have a nice day. Like, leave me alone. I'm reading my book. I'm listening to my podcast. And I think that is the thing that, like, I haven't lived everywhere in the world, but I've spent a tremendous amount of time. I used to work in Paris in the 2000s. Like, my wife's South African. Her family has a place that we spend a lot of time in Cape Town. Amazing city. Like, everywhere. Rio, Chicago. Like, I've been all over the world for extended amounts of time. That thing, and I can come up with 50 more of those, I've only found it to the degree that it exists, like, in New York City. In such like a profound level.
So you moved from New York to LA. We're just going to talk about New York, LA the whole time.
I'm never
and you don't
going
miss
back.
it.
I'm never coming back.
You're really happy.
It's not habitable. Yeah, because it's insane. Because you get all the luxuries of a major, extremely major top 5 city with also a little bit of the pleasantries and the civility of the suburbs of like getting that, like
For sure, the
being able to
beaches,
park, being able to like walk around a grocery store that doesn't smell. Like you can't show me a Gristides or a food emporium out here.
By the way,
doesn't have a slight rank.
You're aging yourself or dating yourself. Both of those out of business.
Completely out of business.
because they
Gone.
did have extreme rank and for whatever reason. Also out of business entirely.
It's on 34.
No, they're out of business entirely. Then you're that's the last one on earth.
We'll swing by Dean and DeLuca on our way out there. It's been gone since 2009.
You're like saying,
in DeLuca.
oh, I used to love the Blockbuster on the corner.
Oh, and you don't go to Cantor's Deli either?
Have you been to Wegmans?
You guys, you just got the first Wegmans here,
We have
right?
a couple now. It's like the 4 seasons of grocery stores.
You see what they're doing with fish?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. You saw this? They're taking Otoro. They're getting the belly of the tuna and they're giving it to people in a Wegmans. You can go get great Otoro in Wegmans.
I know, but this is a big deal to you guys because you're living in a cesspool.
Where are you getting Otoro at your grocery store?
Oh boy, oh am I getting Toro. But this is a common occurrence in LA because I get it. But yeah, I just don't
How many times has your house or apartment or car been robbed?
well, I know you dealt with it.
Let's get into that.
Well, compared to New York,
Yeah, I don't even lock my house here. My house is unlocked.
you live
right
in a
now.
doorman building.
My point,
You have a security guard in the lobby.
my point exactly, Josh. We have created an environment here. No, New York is dangerous as fuck.